fundamentals, C and D. So we discussed A and D. So now Amalan Prabhu will talk about C and D.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Amalan Prabhu. Please continue.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you, Ravi Shankar Prabhu. It was a nice class, and you talked about association and then books. Association makes your character good, and you become a good person if you are in good association. And if you read good books, spiritual books related to Krishna, then you get a lot of knowledge. So after you get good association, and then you got to read a lot of books and you got a lot of knowledge. So now what do? Now you do chanting and you do good diet for your body and health. Okay, so first I like to thank Bindranath Prabhu for giving this opportunity to talk. I don't have qualification or capability to talk about this topic. Chanting and diet is very sublime topic and very spiritually elevated topic, but I will try to say whatever I learned, and I am definitely going to do a lot of mistakes. Please forgive me for whatever mistakes I do. So I'll start with chanting, then I'll talk about diet. So chanting here means we're talking about the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So when we say chanting, people might think, okay, I do a lot of puja and I do a lot of readings and I go to devotee association, and why should I do chanting? People might think about that why should I do chanting? I'll remember Krishna's name in my heart. I don't have to do chanting. People might think about that. So before I go into that, why I should do chanting, I just wanted to bring that one point here. If you ask any common person I mean who are not related to Krishna consciousness, and if you ask them, what do you want in life? So in general you will get a common answer, which is going to be kind of happiness. Or some people might say, I want money. But finally, money, the end goal is with the money they want to buy their physical comfort, and from there basically they try to achieve happiness. And then if you talk to people who are like little spiritually inclined, they might say, we want liberation. And there are some people who are doing spiritual practice, maybe Advaita Vedanta or some other path, there are a lot of spiritual process. They might say liberation, Attanta Dukkha Nivritti, Paramananda Prapti, Sukh Prapti. So this kind of answer you might get. So basically end goal of all the people, if you ask, there will be sense of freedom people want basically. And now in Krishna consciousness, what we are going to get, which is called divine love, prema bhakti. So if we get prema bhakti, then all the things I mentioned like liberation, happiness, attanta dukkha nivritti, paramananda, sukha prapti, all of them we get by default. All of them we get, plus we get the love of Krishna, which is you cannot match with anything else. So now how do we get this prema bhakti? To get prema bhakti in this Kali Yuga, the method is to do chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Okay, so I'll give you some spiritual references for that. So if you guys remember, a few years back, Vrindranath Prabhu gave lectures on Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam lectures was, plot was Naimisha Aranya, and then 6 questions asked by rishis to Suta Goswami, and 80,000 rishis were carried by Shaunaka, and 6 questions were asked, and in that we will not go all the questions, there was one last question was asked. Anybody remember that question? So that question was, after Krishna wound up his Leela, where the Dharma took shelter. So the answer is, Dharma took shelter in Srimad-Bhagavatam. So Srimad-Bhagavatam is, which is essence of all the Vedic literature. See, Srimad-Bhagavatam is written by Vedavyasa later, after writing a lot of other scriptural books, and Narada suggested him, write this book so that devotees can get the love of Krishna and they can enjoy the Krishna's love. So that is the reason Srimad-Bhagavatam is so full of nectar and so full of love. And Srimad-Bhagavatam, in that it is mentioned that in different yuga, different type of process are mentioned. Like now, like for example, if you change country or if you go to different places, you try to adapt the process and you try to follow the methods whatever that country has, right? So similarly, in Bhagavatam it is mentioned that Shakti Yuga, to reach Krishna, the method is single pointed meditation. So single pointed meditation, if you do, that was the process mentioned in Shakti Yuga. Then you can reach Krishna. And then next was Treta Yuga. Like recently we had Ram Katha. And Treta Yuga, the recommended process is fire sacrifice. Like a lot of like Ashwamedha Yagya or a lot of yagas done that during that time. So that those fire sacrifice process is recommended for Treta Yuga to reach Krishna. And then the Yapur Yuga, the Mahabharata time frame, like Srimad Bhagavad Gita happened during that Mahabharata time. So the Yapur Yuga is elaborate deity worship. And then we are right now in Kali Yuga. So Kali Yuga, the process is given for Kali Yuga is Harinam Sankirtan. So now, if you think about all the other three things like single pointed meditation, fire sacrifice and deity worship, those are all in this time of frame, and the situation we are in right now, it is going to be really, really difficult. And now the nice thing is this Harinam Sankirtan, chanting the holy name, it is such an easy thing and simple process, yet it is so powerful. If we do that, we achieve all of the result of all of the other methods and we reach Krishna. And Srimad-Bhagavatam, last canto, last chapter, last sloka, that is 12.13.23, they concluded, Nama Sankirtanam yasya sarva papa pranashanam pranama dukkha shamo namastam namami hari param. So this means here, this Harinam Sankirtan can destroy all the sinful reactions. So all the sinful reaction it can destroy. So imagine that we have collected so many sinful reaction life after life after life, and it can destroy by chanting this holy name. So that is Srimad-Bhagavatam is telling us about the mahima of holy name chanting. And then we get reference in Bhagavad Gita also. Now, for example, when somebody comes to visit Michigan and they, for example, somebody came from Texas, for example, and visiting you, and he is saying that I came to Michigan first time, I want to see all the places of Michigan. All the things in Michigan are part of Michigan. But what you are going to do actually, you are not going to show him everything about Michigan. You are going to take him all the famous or nice places. For example, you might take them to Picture Rock in Upper Peninsula, or you might take them to Warren Tech, GM Tech Center in Detroit downtown, the tall building. From there you can show the Detroit downtown. And then you can take them to famous restaurant probably. So these are all basically you are trying to show the famous thing. So similarly, when Mahabharata was happening, and during Mahabharata, this Bhagavad Gita happened before the battle started. So that time also Arjuna was learning all the lessons from Krishna, and Krishna was telling all the lessons of Bhagavad Gita. And in 10.16, 10 chapter and 16 sloka, Arjuna asked, please tell me in detail of your divine opulences by which you pervade all these worlds. So basically Arjuna is asking Krishna, tell me about your all the divine opulences so that I can understand you. Basically was the objective. Then Krishna said in many verses that I am Indra, I am Vishnu, I am Samaveda, I am Lord Shiva, I am Meru, I am Brihaspati, I am Kartikeya. And then he says in 10.25, Maharshinam Bhriguraham Kiram Asmekam Aksharam Yagyanam Japo Yagga Asmi Sthavaranam Himalaya. So here he's telling Yagyanam Japo Yagga Asmi. Yagyanam means of all the yaggas, whatever yaggas are available, of all of them, I am Japo Yagga Asmi. Like you show the famous in important places of Michigan, similarly Sri Krishna is saying, I am Japa Yagga. So that shows the japa is such an important thing. That was mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. So that's what Krishna also recommended, that japa is the important thing to do. Then for us, for human being, what we are doing basically for long time, we are roaming around through 8.4 million species for many years. And in all the species, only human being can chant holy name and can do bhakti process. And human birth is so precious. In all other form of life, it is very difficult to get liberation or prema bhakti. And if in this human birth, if we don't get Krishna's love, that means this life is kind of gone waste. It is like you are failing in the same class again. And then again birth, again death. Like Adi Shankara said in Bhaja Govindam, Punarapi Janamam, Punarapi Maradam, Puranapi Janani, Jatare Shayanam, Iya Sansare, Vahadustare, Kripaya Pare, Pahi Murare, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. So that's what he said, that this is an endless cycle of birth and death. And he got this chance, take this as a only chance. And this life we have to get the love of Krishna. That should be our goal. And for that we have to do chanting. And another important fact is, in this process, in this bhakti process, if you are doing chanting and you are progressing, even if you die, next life you will be starting from where you left. Nothing will go waste. And another thing is, there is no guarantee after death we are going to get human birth. Soul is going to transmigrate based on karma. We may not get human birth. So the point, what I am trying to say is, this life itself, we have to understand it may be only chance for now. It might happen after a very long time later. We might get human birth, because we don't know our karma, what life we are going to get. So this should be taken as a only chance or last chance. And if you think about the material world possessions, first of all, there is no fun in material world. We all know that. If you look back your life, you understand that. And if you have not understood, please understand. There is no fun in the material world. It is full of misery. And it is designed that way. And another thing is, whatever you gain in this material like possession, all kind of maybe nice cars, house, whatever you gain, property, bank balance, after you die, everything you have to leave here. But in the spiritual process, whatever you learn, you're not going to miss anything. Next life, you might get better, comfortable life to do process of bhakti. So chanting will help us to progress in bhakti. So that is the important part, and we should not waste our life doing other things than bhakti. And then in Kali Yuga, who came in Kali Yuga to save all the devotees? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a combined form of Krishna Shaktiman and Radha Shakti. And Krishna, Radha and Krishna, they are transcendental. But they are not like a regular human being like us. And Radha's love was so pure, and Radha's attraction to Krishna was so pure. Krishna used to wonder, what is this? I cannot even imagine how Radha's love is so pure. Then to enjoy that, Krishna came as Radha Krishna combined as a Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what he is saying in Charitamrita 7 chapter 76, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam, kalau nasti, eva nasti, eva nasti, gatirannatha. So what is the meaning of that is, in this Kali Yuga, other than Hari name, there is no other way. There is no other way, there is no other way. So he stressed that point to make sure that we take this seriously, and there is no other. Why he is saying no other way? There are ways basically, but there are ways, they are very difficult. They are exceedingly difficult in this time frame. So that's why this is the only easiest way. And see, if you cannot do this, probably you cannot be doing other things also, because this is the most simplest thing to do chanting than all other method what you mentioned for other yoga. And the power of Hari name is such. There are stories comes like people. Sometimes people may not know about Krishna or Krishna conscious process or bhakti process. Sometimes people take the name of Krishna in funny way also. Like, for example, somebody is chanting and going, and some other guy passing by, he is saying, hey, see this guy, Hare Krishna guy, he whole day chanting, he is a mad guy. He took in that process also Krishna's name, he will get credit. Such a power of Krishna's name. And without knowing also, like, you know the story of Ajamil, whose story everybody I think know. He was at the end of his life, he was calling his son's name was Narayana, given by some saintly people, because he was doing bad stuff, and then at the time of death he took his son's name. He was not calling Krishna basically, he was taking his son's name, and then the conversation happened between Yamduta and the Vishnu Duta, and Vishnu Duta finally convinced them that you cannot take him because he took the name of Narayana, Vishnu, basically Krishna. So that is the power of holy name. And if we are not chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra in this life, probably better luck next life. Better if we get another chance in next life probably. That's why it is easy process. Stop analyzing it, I think, and just do it. And whoever doing for some time, I'm pretty sure they are all getting benefits. Like I am doing for some time, and thanks to Bindranath Prabhu. Because of him, I am doing basically chanting. I was never into chanting before. I was not doing chanting. I was reading books, but I was not doing chanting. And then Bindranath Prabhu used to encourage. He used to motivate. His motivation is like continuously he used to motivate. Otherwise, it's very tough for me to do this chanting. Now I started becoming much more regular. I'm doing in the morning. When I do chanting in the morning, I feel so good. Now, how to do chanting? So chanting, I'm pretty sure everybody knows about this, but I still show how to do this chanting in case somebody like to see it. We start with the bead, and we put here in this finger, and we try to pull towards us. And in the end, we rotate. We don't cross this. And this is how we do chanting. And we should be chanting in the morning 16 rounds every day with little sound, so that our mouth, ear, mind, everything is engaged, or all are engaged. So now this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is transcendental, and it came from a spiritual world. Like you call somebody and you get connected to a person. Similarly, if you do chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, immediately you get connected to God. And when you do chanting, that time, remember Krishna is dancing on your lips, and you touch the beat, is touch on Krishna's feet. And chanting increases your bhakti, it increases your discipline, it increases your determination, it increases your concentration. And these are the very important factors, and which can be applied in any other field also to get greater success. So this chanting is not only helping you to go towards Krishna, it can help you in many other ways, because it builds your character, it helps you to get concentration. Concentration nowadays is a very big challenging thing. Everybody knows people are so much into the screen and phone and all the time, and they are losing their mind, and people have difficulty to focus on things what they want to do. Sometimes if they have to do some work, they cannot do it because of concentration. So this will chanting will help in concentration also. But don't chant along with your mundane work, like you are chanting in the morning and also you are making your breakfast. Don't do that. You only are allowed to do that if your designated round is over, then only you can do. Otherwise, avoid doing all those things. First finish your chanting, then you do all other work. So now the common problem of chanting is, many times people say that I start chanting, but after some time my mind doesn't stay in one place. It keep roaming around here and there. It is a very common problem, and it's not a bad thing, I would say, when we start chanting. If it happens, our job is to bring the mind back to the place again. It is like if your mind goes somewhere, you just catch it and bring it back. So if we do that, slowly it will get settled. And I use power of visualization, I would say. Like pictures are 1,000 words. I'll tell you a little small story about this. There is a person in Russia. His name is Nathan Sharansky, if you guys know him. So he was jailed in Russia for treason. Russian government thought he is a American spy. So they arrested him for treason, and he was almost jailed for 13 years, and his wife was running a lot of campaigns, and then after 13 years, Russia and US government, they had a talk that time. Ronald Reagan and Mikhail Gorbachev, they talk and they cut a deal, and because of their goodwill factor for prison release program, they released him in 1986, and then he moved to Israel, and he became cabinet minister there. And 1996, Garry Kasparov, during that time, he is the world champion chess player during that time, Garry Kasparov, and he went to Israel for a chess tournament. And in that chess tournament, he was playing with 25 players, and he beat all 24 of them, but he lost to Nathan Sharansky. And everybody got shocked, and Garry Kasparov also shocked, but how is this possible? And then everybody started asking, how did you do that? He is a world champion and you don't even play chess. How did you do that? Everybody got kind of surprised. Then he said, when I was jailed in Russia for 13 years, many times I used to be in solitary confinement, and I was in some of the time I was in Siberia, which is kind of famous as a gulag, if you guys know. So in those time when he was in solitary confinement, to maintain his sanity, he used to play chess in his mind. So he used to play chess in his mind. Think about that now. He draw in his mind a chess, all the blocks and all the players, and he used to play every day continuously. He used to play chess in the mind, all the players, both sides. Quite some time he played, and because of that visualization in his mind, and he developed such a skill, finally he beat a world champion Garry Kasparov. So that is the power of visualization. So reason of telling that story is what I generally try to do when I start chanting. I also have the same problem. My mind also go here and there. So what I do, I sit, close my eyes, immediately imagine in front of me Radha and Krishna. I am sitting at their lotus feet and doing chanting. So I keep imagining that. Actually they are there, but we cannot see them. So I imagine that and I start chanting. It helps me to do chanting with more focused way, without losing mind here and there. So a lot of other people use other technique, thinking this is their last day. They may not be alive tomorrow. Something like that people think. So whatever works for you, but start chanting. Whoever is not doing chanting, start doing 1 round, 2 round, and if you cannot do 1 round, do at least chanting of like 1 time or 2 time. Then you'll get little practice and you'll improve. So benefit you get a lot from this chanting. You become happy. Like after I chant, I become very happy. And after started this process of chanting, my life become more disciplined. I get up by 6:30. Earlier I used to get up always 9 o'clock. I used to sleep very late, like 2 o'clock. Nowadays I sleep by 12. I am trying to focus on sleeping by 10. If I get 10, then probably I'll be able to get up by 4 o'clock. That is my goal. I'll try to improve that. Okay, so as you understand, the chanting is a very important process of Krishna consciousness and go towards Krishna. So we have to do chanting, and this is the easiest and simplest process. You don't have to follow too much difficult rules to do that. Any place, anywhere you can do chanting and do chanting. Okay, so now I'll go quickly on the next topic, which is called dieting. So dieting means no food after the Zoom meeting, because we are dieting. So that is not the case actually. So dieting here, so there are 4 things we talked about: A, association; B, books; C, chanting; and D is dieting. So what is the importance of this dieting? So dieting is very important fact for our life, because the kind of food we eat, the kind of mind and body you are going to get. In Hindi it is very popular, people say jaisa an vaisa man, jaisa an vaisa tan, ऐसे लोग बोलते हैं in Hindi. And also nowadays people are very scientific minded, and also it is we are living in a good time frame where a lot of scientific experiments are available nowadays to understand a lot of things easily. There is a guy called Dr. Masaru Emoto. Masaru Emoto. You can Google it. He did a lot of experiment with water. Like he took water and he played music. He cursed the water and he played laughful music, say nice word, and all of these kind of different emotions he impacted on the water, and then he solidified that water, and then putting under the microscope, he investigated all the crystal structure. And what he found interesting thing is, whenever he played laughful music or good words or kind word, that time the structure of the crystal was very beautiful. And when it was anger or other bad emotions, negative emotions, the structure was very scattered and very bad kind of shape. Now think about this water. Our body is made up of 70 to 80% water. We don't even realize that surrounding vibration affect us all the time. Even you guys might notice this. Suppose some devotee come in front of you, even they are not talking to you, you will feel some kind of vibration like what they're thinking about you or not. You get some kind of sense. You may not realize it, but it affects, because your mind is generating thought all the time, and each thought has a vibration, and that vibration affects all around. Now, why I'm saying all of this, the reason is we need to understand one point, that vibration, whatever we create by our thought, that affects our surroundings. So that is the point I wanted to make. And it is not only water, it affects any other kind of material. If you do some search in Google, you'll know or know all these things. So now, for us to progress in bhakti, we need to eat sattvic kind of food, because we need a sattvic mind. I call it in Bengali sattvic. It is basically sattvic mind to progress in bhakti. So Sri Krishna in chapter 3, sloka number 13, he said, Jagga Shishta Shina Shanto Muchante Sarva Kilvishai Bhunjate Te Tagam Papa Ye Pachantatma Karanat. So what he said here in this sloka, if someone is cooking for themselves and eating, they are only eating the sin. And devotees of the Lord, they first offer to Krishna, then as a prasadam, they take that food. So that is the right way to eat. And if somebody is not doing that, if they are preparing food and eating for themselves, they are eating only papa means the sin they are eating. Now there are three types of food which is mentioned in Srimad-Bhagavatam, chapter 17, sloka number 8, 9 and 10. Sloka 8 says about the sattvic food, which is in the mode of goodness, which increase the lifespan, give strength, health, happiness, and the foods are like juicy, fatty, wholesome, pleasing to the heart. That is a kind of sattvic food. Of course, these are all vegetarian food without garlic and onion. And then sloka 9, it's talk about the Rajasik food. So which is again vegetarian food, but mixed with too much bitterness, too much sour, too much salty, too much hot, too much chili, pungent, dry. Rajasik people like this kind of food. They'll be eating and they'll be sweating also. So this kind of food they like, and even if somebody eat this kind of food, they'll become Rajasik, if they are not Rajasik also. And then sloka 10, it talked about the tamasic food. Tamasic food means all bad kind of food, which is kind of decomposed, putrid, tasteless, non-vegetarian, any kind of non-vegetarian food, they all comes under tamasic food. Tamasic food means after you eat, what will happen? You will go to bed and you will sleep. That's what will happen. And Rajasic food, if you eat, you will run. You don't know where you are running, but you will be running. And only if you eat sattvic food, then only your mind and body will be settled. You will be able to progress in bhakti. You will be able to do chanting properly. So now, in a home setup, what we can do is in our home, we can make Krishna temple, and then what we cook for Krishna is called bhoga. So for bhoga, we should use separate utensils which are not used for our personal purpose. And while cooking, the cook should be cleaned with body, especially you should take bath and your clothes should be clean. And then while cooking, you can play some bhajans. As I said, the vibration has a great effect on the any substance around. So you can play a bhajan, or you can play some, you can chant also, and you can create some positive environment while cooking. And then after you cook, and you should take the bhoga covered with another plate, and then you take it to Krishna and pray first that forgive me in case I did any mistake while making this bhoga. And then you do your regular ritual, and after that you close the door of your temple for some time, and then later you take the prasadam and mix with your other food, and you eat and you share with other. That is how your sattvic vegetarian food will be Krishnatarian food. So your goal is to become Krishnatarian from vegetarian. Then you are eating the highest quality thing. And that highest quality thing will give you the highest quality body, and highest quality body will help you to do more service to Krishna. And now all of this, when you think of chanting and you think of giving first offering Krishna, and then people might ask, why should I give it to Krishna? I only earn all this thing, I did so much hard work and all. Why should I give it to Krishna? Krishna don't need anything from you. Krishna are not asking you that if you don't give me food, I will go hungry. Krishna only interested in your love, in your bhav. And to show our bhav, to show our love, we have to serve Krishna for our benefits, as we want prema bhakti to get all kind of freedom and all kind of happiness. For that we have to do the service. We have to go towards Krishna. God is interested in our love, because it is said that Krishna is slave of the love of devotees. Now, another few things can happen, like sometime you are in Krishna conscious movement, or not movement, in bhakti process, and you are eating sattvic food, and then you meet some other friend who are not in the bhakti process, other friends or relatives, they are not eating sattvic food, and you can teach them with love and affection what is the benefit, what is the benefit of eating sattvic food, and what you should not eat. With love and affection you should do. But don't create a hatred or jealousy or hingsa towards them, thinking that you are great, you are eating sattvic food and they are not eating. So that kind of thinking also will create sin for you, and even though you are eating sattvic food, that kind of thinking can basically minimize your effect of sattvic food. So you should be humble after eating this sattvic food, not ahankari. That is very important point to remember. And also avoid eating restaurant food, because the restaurant guy the guy is, all the restaurant food generally in tamasic nature, but other than that, the guy who is cooking, he may not be in the right mindset for cooking the food. So we need to be careful. That's the reason some of the saintly people, they never eat of food from any other people make. They always make themselves and eat. And I wanted to tell a little about non-vegetarian food, maybe 1 minute. My time is up almost. I'm almost done. So non-vegetarian food for human being, it is not good. It causes a lot of disease. Human being intestine, a lot of science journal, or if you read, you'll see all this kind of information available nowadays. Human being intestine is very long, and toxic material will stay longer if you eat non-vegetarian food. And animal goes through also a lot of pain while dying. It is like they say 40,000 scorpio biting kind of situation when animal die. So when animal dies, they go through a lot of pain, and that emotions goes in the meat, and that meat you are eating, and you are getting those bad emotions in your body, and you are unnecessarily, for the taste you are suffering. You are giving excuse of basically protein, but it is finally it is the taste. Because of that you are eating, and you are slave of that. So eat food for good health and long life. Don't eat for taste only. So the conclusion is, eat sattvic food, do chanting, read books, be in good devotee association. If you are in any other association, then give them the association of Krishna and teach them about Krishna, tell them about books. And another point I wanted to make,